All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Episode 2. All right. We have ourselves a funny, wholesome slice of life show, Jacob.
Yeah. That's right. Only the best.
Made by Kyoto Eddie.
That's right.
Those mad lads.
With plenty of smiles and warm lights and colors to go around. And potentially a new character that is about to enter the scene.
Yes, and we have ourselves the adorable, the exuberant, the slightly out of touch with human worlds Toru, who is definitely not only horny but scaly.
Yes, quite.
So that is a specific thing that Kobayashi is dealing with.
Yep.
Kobayashi only seems to have one friend in her life right now.
Yep.
So having this connection with Toru will be a thing that helps both of them, because we saw how wholesome Toru was when she started to have a little bit of a nightmare from did she get smote by a god or something?
Who knows?
And
who knows?
Then she got to nuzzle up against Kobayashi when they were sleeping together, and she felt so much more at home. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. The found family and the home that isn't, you never would have expected. I'm always a sucker for that.
Yeah, me too. I love that stuff. So, yes, I know about Kanna, because who in the internet doesn't know about Kanna? So we saw her in the last episode, so she's probably going to be arriving in this episode. She is definitely a dragon. It's just a question of, is she going to be supportive of Toru's decision with this? Is she going to be antagonistic towards Toru's decision to be with Kobayashi here? Is she like relaying a message? There's probably this other fantasy world that Kanna, at the very least, will give us more insight to, in the same way that Toru did regarding the Yggdrasil world tree and all that.
What you're about to find out is that Kanna was actually the one that smote down Toru.
That would be funny. All right, but Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion. And we've been introduced to Kanna.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so cute.
You now know how the internet was taken over. Yep.
She's just so whoa.
I love how she shows up, and it's like, okay, who is this adorable, little probably dragon, right? And then it's, you slut, you vile woman, you've seduced Toru. Let her go.
And it's with the most adorable voice. It's like, cuckold.
Yeah. Let her go.
Slut with glasses. It's wait. And she's like, hold up a minute.
Let her go. Let her go. Yeah. Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
There's so many cute and funny moments in this episode, but there are also some really high level animation moments.
Oh yeah.
There's the part in the market alleyway of sorts, where she freaking launched herself with a smiling smash and obliterated that guy. And he's probably dead. They're like, I can sleep better.
It's KyoAni, it's just he just is dreaming of unicorns and marshmallows,
for the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life. Yeah. And then
he can move his left eye and his upper lip,
Yep, it's just done. And then there's when Kanna and Toru want to play.
Yeah, they want to play.
They want to play.
They want to roughhouse a little. They're not in Japan, I don't think, anymore.
Yeah, so they just fly to a random field. And what I love is that... Because, okay, having them do this is great. But what makes it really great is having them do this with Kobayashi as the sort of litmus test backdrop for it. Because,
right.
Because I feel like I saw something once that was saying whenever they do Olympic competitions, they should really have like a regular person doing it too, so you can see just how impressive it is.
Yes.
Any of them are able to do things on this level, right? Because usually it's like, oh, the person who won the gold is so good, and everyone else are just whatever, So Kobayashi is basically that regular person that's in this situation, while it's just like, okay, yeah, and then lasers and stuff going around like crazy, and she's just like.
What I loved about this also was that this was something where I was thinking like, oh, so they've just jumped over to like Okinawa or something like that, and they're like on a an island somewhere nearby in a grass field or what have you, and it's just like, okay, they're gonna have a little bit of fun. Well, they don't transform into dragons before they start literally casting spells at each other, which is hilarious, because what that means is that they were thinking like, we're not gonna go full dragon.
Right.
We're going to channel our anime powers because we watched some anime, basically.
And people in our world can do things like this. So.
But and it seems like in the human world there are some super strong humans. And Kobayashi might not be that strong, but we'll at least keep it to human standards.
Exactly.
So
no Armageddon.
Like just the idea that there were all these like fate level like like channeled runes of energy in their like hands there, and then like a delayed like laser blast, like eruption magic or what have you. I'm just like, I've used these spells in RPGs, and they're just like casually using them and dodging. It's it's hilarious and comedy, but it's so dramatically well animated that it's like, this was such an expensive gag probably for them to do, like such a time consuming one,
and yet it definitely does help the show be more entertaining, because I could see people that maybe aren't as into the wholesome stuff, right? But then they're like, oh, okay, but this is great having this regular slice of life, and then suddenly magic explosions and things like that. And what I love is that it's still done in the art style of the show,
right?
Which is super normal and super like just sort of people like all the white sort of highlights on the character designs and things like that. And then suddenly all hell breaks loose, right? And Kobayashi is like I feel like it's one of those things where she's definitely surprised, but then at the same time, well, dragons exist, and she didn't think that dragons existed a while back, so she's kind of taking it in stride.
Well, I think that's part of it, and she did have a very aggressive introduction with Toru to the whole world of dragons, so that's kind of okay. Right. Also, she said that basically once you have 1, 2 is nothing. Yeah. The idea that Kanna is actually a little bit easier to handle than Toru.
Right, because Toru has a playmate.
Handles Kanna in a lot of ways. Yep. And I like how that kind of dissemination of information starts to take place, is that Toru actually has now some skills with regards to interacting with humans.
Yes.
She is the high charisma dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she actually has the ability to interact with the people at the marketplace, become friends with them, and she's like, I'm not friends with them, I just show them, I'm just courteous to them, and they are courteous back. And he's like, okay, I guess, like, there you go, like that.
And Kobayashi's just like, wow, that's a lot better than I do, It's like, because the thing is, I feel like there are so many shows that have not definitely on the same standard as Toru and Kanna and everybody, but of a similar flavor. But there are very few shows that have a Kobayashi in the same breath, right?
Are you talking about character types and archetypes?
Yes.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And that contrast, that contradiction just is so wonderful. Like, I'm probably going to bring it up about every episode, because they do so much good stuff with it. Like, there is something about Kobayashi's face of just sort of deadpan expression, just sort of,
and them all mocking it. I loved maybe,
my back. Yeah.
I'm dying.
And how quickly Kanna picked up on that too, because Toru, it's like, okay, sure,
she's been there a while.
Yeah, she's been there a while, but Kanna just right there
immediately got it.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, just they've been killing it thus far with regards to the, I would say, not just the comedy, but the aspect of just making the presentation of the dragon something that is both cute and slightly like unnerving, because Kanna is this package of cute and wholesome and adorableness.
Yep.
But the contradiction of when she first comes in there and she's just like slut with glasses, you know, and it's just like, wait, what? What? You seduced lady.
You seduced Toru. Yeah.
Toru-sama. And it's like, oh my god, okay, this is not what I was expecting. And then the added bit of how excited she is about being with them all, because we find out
she's been kicked out.
She's been kicked out of the home. She got Jar Jar Binks out of, like, you know, the Boo or what have you.
Wow, that is a name that I didn't think to be
she literally
said
got,
in the same breath as...
She literally got Jar Jar'd out of her own place.
Yeah.
It's literally the same thing.
Yep. And we don't even know what the prank
was
exactly.
What it was.
But it was bad, apparently.
It was really bad, apparently. Yeah. So we get to see her in this, I would say, kind of excited state of where she really loves and appreciates Toru for reasons that probably has to do with respect, and Toru being an
important dragon.
An important dragon, yeah, probably more powerful, more experienced, definitely with her ability to cast invisibility. Yeah, and greater invisibility
and selective invisibility. Because Kobayashi was still able to see them.
That's true. They might have actually been visible once they got up to the clouds, though. Where it's like the invisibility was for them to get up there.
Yeah.
And then once they're hiding behind the clouds, the reason why they're hiding is because they're not invisible anymore.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, that's how I took it, at least. But yeah, then having that kind of respect, that interest in Toru be something that is used to have Toru then explain all the things about the world, and have it be just these simple little skits that they just jump in between back and forth. I'd watch an entire show about that.
Yeah,
like, I wouldn't need plot. I would watch that show. Like, that would be all. I'd be fine with nothing else.
I mean,
and yet this show's gonna have little bits of other things constantly throughout it. So,
but
I love it.
But that's basically what this show is. It has other stuff too.
Yeah, it has other stuff. But that's probably like 75% of it. Yeah,
that's what Kyoto Annie just gets, is that you can have something like this, and if it's well done and there's a lot of passion put into it and everything, you can have it be something that is really just fluffy and adorable and whatnot. And that works. That really does work. And then there's the little bits of, more serious stuff where Kobayashi's like, I kind of want to ask her about that whole thing of, her being on death's door. But maybe not
right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also really loved the music that they did when Kobayashi was like, hey, Toru, I've got this. Like, I'll talk to Kanna. And basically, like, kind of leveling and being a little, like, intense with Kanna. But just letting her know that, like, hey, trust is not something that, you need to actually have here. That's for friends and lovers.
Right.
And
you don't have to be my friend.
You don't have to be my friend. I'm just going to let you live with us, okay?
Yep.
And it's that simple act of, I would say, kindness that is in some ways the mark of what they're giving to humanity, in this case for our positive. Because we have all these little kind of flair things of like, we have conveniences and magical cars and and wonderful.
It's catapult practice, yeah.
Right. We have catapult practice toys. We have a wonderful little. We live in a society, and just because we live in a society doesn't mean it's all bad. We have these great little conveniences.
Yes, definitely.
But the market best thing about humans is we have the capacity for love, kindness, empathy, compassion, all that good stuff, and just a little bit of it given to this near omnipotent magical being just has them go.
It goes a long way.
Okay. And I love it. I am here for it, and I adore it, and it's wonderful. Also, this show is rather efficient with. It really clipping us through each character's introduction so that we can get to having them do their character essentially on the backdrop of where this setting is, so that when we get to the next episode we can introduce another character and do the same thing, probably, because we've got, as far as the OP goes, like a lot more characters to go through. Not necessarily just dragons too, but like regular humans.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw in the OP one of the dragons getting particularly fondly of one of the humans, so that's gonna be a thing at some point. Well, Jacob's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that part in the show. That's like your eyes just said. You're like, oh boy.
Well, just remember, 10% etchy.
10% etchy. It's 10% over the course of the whole show. Doesn't mean it's all necessarily like sprinkled throughout. It could be localized in particular bits.
But one of the things, like you mentioned the pacing, and I do really appreciate that about the show because when I was a lot less like into the idea of slice of life, a lot of it was because when I thought about it, I was like, okay, well, that seems just like an excuse to have nothing.
Or an excuse to have like really bad pacing.
Yeah, exactly. And to just kind of be like, okay, but we have like the one or two things that make it special, and we'll hope that's enough to sort of tide you over.
Sure.
Right? And then
I know what you mean,
and then the fluffy aspect of it isn't fluffy from the standpoint of feelings and whatnot. It's fluffy from the standpoint of substance, right?
Right.
And that is something that is, from a certain point of view, true in that, you know, it doesn't have a lot of the crazy plot things in it that, you know, you might expect of a show with dragons, right?
Right, and not necessarily even crazy character depth necessarily.
Sure, not necessarily. You know, they have it when they need to, but that might not be for everybody, right?
Right.
And yet a whole lot of care is taken into making sure that it's constantly entertaining, it's enjoyable, and it knows what it's doing, and it has variety within the things that it does, so that it doesn't become monotonous, you know. Because even for something as adorable and wonderful as this show, if it was the same thing over and over again, right, and there wasn't much change to it, it could get old, right? Not a problem.
Right, like there are little parts even in this episode where you can tell they're like, we're going to insert a gag here.
Right, like the tail meat.
The tail meat thing was actually one that like kind of stood out to me as like, oh, this one was just kind of inserted here with no correlation connection to stuff in the immediate episode.
Right.
It had a connection to things in the previous episode. You know, put your meat inside, put my meat inside you, Kobayashi. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even though it's poisonous.
Hey, that's what the cooking process is for. That's what she blah away like it needs more heat. I can't blast the poison out of you without getting closer.
I love Toru's question of like, how did you find this place? And Kanna's like, well, I saw you like fly up and just disperse the clouds and breathe fire and all that stuff. Wasn't that hard, no. Which is also a clever setup to go, yeah, there are probably other dragons that saw that as well. Yeah, exactly.
Because literally, like, if you were viewing this from space, you would see like this little like orange like little flare light up.
Or just like, I don't know, if you have a way to like detect magical effects and things like that, you've got a completely blank slate for this world where there is no magic and things like that.
And then suddenly just
you're like, what's that? Oh man.
Yeah, but what's exciting about this is we are already starting to see Kobayashi, first of her name,
Mother of Dragons, Breaker of Chains,
and Protect of the Protector of the Dragon's Realm.
Oh yeah.
This is going to be wonderful to see her as not only just a mom to all these lovely dragons, but also in some ways like a best friend. You know, like. In
the
some ways,
confidant and the
in some ways also like the idea of like all the dragons being kind of in love with her a little bit, you know, like that's kind of a thing where I'm like, yes, I kind of want that to be a thing present in the show, because not for the standpoint of melodrama where they're all like jealous or what have you,
like harem stuff or whatever,
harem stuff, but like actually just to have them be like, oh, Kobayashi, we're pressing in and just being like, come on, pay attention, like, let me love you.
Mom, you know, like,
right.
Look what I did, yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that kind of stuff will lead to probably more moments where the hard shell of Kobayashi's, you know, dead heart, you know, might crack open a little bit and let a little bit of adorableness kind of ooze its way in.
Well, and what I love about this is that there's the hard shell cracking, you know, analogy and all that stuff. And yet at the same time, I feel like it's more like she's been thrown into an oven. Like, because she's just sort of looking around and like, this is fine. Like, and of course, you know, mixed in with the, yes, dragons doing dragony things and it's ridiculous and crazy, is just, you know, some happiness and wholesomeness and, you know, and warmth that maybe she didn't have in her life before.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction discussion. This is a wonderful show. If you want to see the next episode's reaction discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below or our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
That's right. I wrote a sci-fi novel called Battle Lines. It's not very similar to this show, but it's really cool, and it's on Amazon if you want to get it. Link in the description below. It's in both hardback and ebook, but only ebook for international purchases because shipping a hardback to other countries is very difficult. But yeah, check it out.
So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.